All right, guys, here we are back again. Part two, Law of the Lid. Okay. I just kind of wanted to, where I left off, just kind of pick up from there. I know I went hard and heavy on the topic of leadership like I promised you I would. I know I stepped on some toes like I promised you I would. But remember, okay, I wanted to do it professionally. I wanted to teach you guys something. It's okay when somebody steps on your toes to teach you something, okay? If it's going to make you better, all right? I'm not here to make enemies. I'm not here to offend anybody, get anybody upset. I'm here to teach you guys because I love this industry, the optometric industry. I have a passion for it, and eventually one day I'm not going to be able to be in it. So what I'm trying to do is to teach those others that are younger than me, that can be future leaders in this industry. When they take over, I want you guys to be the best, okay? That's why I'm doing this, okay? So let's pick up where we left off, all right? If you remember, what we talked about on that first video was the law of the lid, okay? If you remember, that law of the lid was pretty much telling you the level of effectiveness for your corporation. So basically what we did is, as the leader, on a scale of 1 to 10, if you were a 4, okay, your corporation, your team cannot be higher than a 4. It's not possible, okay? That's what I was trying to teach you with that law of the lid. So don't forget that law, okay? Very important lesson. So whatever your lid is, it's controlling how better or how bad your corporation is or your team, okay? So remember that if you're a 4, your corporation cannot be higher than a 4. At best, you have a 3, okay? The other thing I was sharing with you guys in that other video, that first video too, is that law of lid did not just tell you where your corporation was, okay? It kind of revealed to you what kind of followers you had, okay? So for example, if I'm a 10, okay, on the level of effectiveness on that law of the lid, that scale, if I'm a 10 and you are a 4, okay, I'm not going to follow you for long, okay? I might at first, okay, so I can learn the system, whatever system you guys have, and then eventually what's going to happen is if you stay at a 4 and I'm a 10, I'm going to figure out how to make that system better, more effective, okay? And I'm going to use my influence as a 10 to do that, okay? I didn't say I was going to try to get a title or a promotion. I just said I was going to use my level of influence to make that situation better. I don't need a title to do that, okay? So why is that important? Why was I sharing with you that if you were a 4 and I'm a 10, that I wasn't going to follow you for long? Because it's naturally, as humans, we tend to follow people, hopefully, that are stronger than us, okay? If I'm a 10 and you're a 4, the reason why I'm not going to follow you for long is because you're not stronger than me as a leader. Your influence is not where it needs to be as a leader. So I'm going to probably figure out that you're not as strong of a leader as I am, so I'm not going to follow you for, too long. I'm just not, okay? I think I just shared with you guys why your team, why your practice is where it's at, okay? A lot of you business owners, doctors, managers, you got the best equipment, okay? You got the newest offices, the newest furniture, the best location for your business or your practice, but it's not growing. Your numbers are not showing the growth that you need it to show, okay? So I just revealed to you why, all right? And here's why that happens. As you all know, I shared with you guys a book that one of my mentors, John C. Maxwell, wrote, The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. The 9th law, is called the law of magnetism. Okay, it's in the book. It's a very good chapter. It reveals why you have the team that you have. Okay, basically, what that law of magnetism says is you attract who you are, not what you want. Okay, if you want tens on your team, you better be a 10 yourself. Okay, because if you are a 4, I promise you, you're not going to have tens on your team. And you need to have tens to be able to compete, to be able to grow the way you need to grow, hopefully the way you want to grow. Okay, that's something that I did when I first took over as team leader. I set some goals with me, the owner, the doctor, and I said, here's where we want to be. Okay, so I quickly realized I can't do it by myself. Okay, I had to get one of the best teams in town to have one of the better practices in town. The only way I was going to do that is if I became an 8, 9, or 10 as a leader, because I knew if I did that, I knew I was going to have 8, 9, and 10s on my team. Okay, so law of magnetism, very important. Why do you have the team you have? Is because of the law of magnetism. You are attracting who you are, and if you are a 3 or 4, you got other 2s and 3s on your team, and that team ain't gonna win too long, that much longer. Okay, it may win at first, but it's not gonna win for long. All right, I promise you. All right. I shared with you earlier in my other videos, in the military, I chose the Marine Corps, me personally, for my own personal reasons. Okay. Why did I choose the Marine Corps? I know there's other branches out there I could have joined. And if I remember the numbers correctly, I hope I'm not making up these numbers every time I share this story. If I remember correctly, when we first stepped off the bus, my platoon, we started out with 52 recruits. Okay. We graduated with 39. Okay. So there's a reason why I wanted to join the Marine Corps, because I knew that the other 38 Marines that graduated with me, we were all 10s. Okay, let me tell you something, guys. The Marine Corps was looking for 10s. If you were a 3 or a 4, you're not going to graduate. You're not going to wear that uniform on graduation day. The Marine Corps was not looking to graduate 3s and 4s. They wanted 10s, okay? Because they know once you graduate boot camp, you have to go join a unit on the fleet, and you got to be a 10 there, because they're going to want you to be a 10. They don't want 4s. You're not going to last long, guys, in the military, especially in the Marine Corps, if you're a 3 or a 4. You cannot give your bare minimum in the military. So I'm wondering why we allow that to happen in our practices and our businesses. I'm telling you right now, not that I make my team feel like they're in the military, but I have raised the standards, okay, the expectations so high. If you're going to work in my office, you cannot be a 3 or a 4. Because my expectations for you is to be a 10, and I'm going to push you to be a 10. And one of two things is going to happen. You're going to figure that out, and you're going to push yourself to be a 10, or you're going to leave. Okay, you're going to want to leave to go work somewhere else where you can only be a 3 or a 4, and then you're happy with that to be the bare minimum, to give the bare minimum every day. Okay, I used to joke around. I used to call those paycheck pirates. People that clock in, all they want to do is the bare minimum, clock out. Okay, that doesn't happen at my office, on my team. There's no paycheck pirates on my team. You're going to have some high expectations, some standards to go by. It's all in the manual. Okay, we go over it, and then we have goals, expectations for everybody there, and hopefully we work together and we meet those goals. Okay, and one of them is for you to be a 10. Okay, shared one of my videos earlier. You may have a good resume. It may be gold plated, but when you give your interview, but by the time you leave my office, years down the road, it's not going to be gold plated anymore. It's going to be made out of gold. Okay, In other words, I added value to who you were as a person, as a team member in my staff. Okay. Now, why do I keep bringing up 3s and 4s? Okay. This is important. I was bringing up earlier why your practice is not growing the way you want it to grow as a business owner, as a doctor. Okay. Here's why. A lot of you guys have a lot of good people on your team. Nothing wrong with that. They're 3s and 4s. That's all they want to do. But they're doing great stuff. They're doing good stuff, good things. Okay? They're keeping the doors open. The practice is still kind of going, all right? But if you got followers on your team, you are growing by followers math, which is addition. I don't want to grow by followers math, okay? I would rather grow with leaders math, which is multiplication, okay? Now, here's what happens on a lot of our teams, okay? Let's say you have 5 team members on your team. Let's say they were all good followers, okay? And they were, as followers, there were 10s. Nothing wrong with that, all right? But let's do the math. Let's do the followers math. If you got 5 team members, and they're all 10s, 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10 is 50, okay? Let's say all of a sudden one of those followers decides they don't want to give 100%, okay? They want to just be a 5, okay? Now, the followers math, you got 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 5, which is 45. So the level of effectiveness of that team or production has been reduced by 10%, okay? No big deal, all right? But now let's say like you got a team like what I want. Now instead of 5 good followers, you have 5 good leaders on your team, which is what I expect, which is what I want, which is what I strive for. I try to make everybody on my team to be future leaders, okay? Now we got synergy. Now we got goals. We're winning, okay? We got this momentum, all right? So now as leaders, they are growing by multiplication, all right? So now those same 5 members now is 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10, okay? You're at 100,000. But now let's say that one of those staff members, those team members, now let's say one day they just don't want to give 10% or 110%, okay? They just want to show up. They just, for whatever reason, they just don't want to meet expectations for that day, okay? Or that week or that month, okay? Here's what happens, okay? Now, the math is this. 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 5, you now have 50,000. Because of that one person, your level of effectiveness as a unit, as a business, as a team has gone down 50%, okay? This is huge. This is why I don't want 5s on my team, or 3s or 4s. I was using 5s, guys. Some of you guys still have 2s and 3s on your teams, and it's no wonder why you're not meeting the numbers every month or every quarter. It's no wonder why your practice is not growing, okay? It's no wonder why people leave, okay? Your staff. So the difference between followers math and leaders math, huge difference. I mean huge, okay? So that is why when my staff shows up, let's go. Here's my expectations for you. Here are my standards for you. Let's go, okay? If you cannot meet those standards, my expectations, then more likely than not, what's happening is customer service for the patients is not happening, okay? We're not meeting our goals, okay? And so for that matter, the practice is not growing, and I need to figure out what to do about that as the team leader. Do I go do some more training to make that 5 into a 10? Do I go have a little motivational talk? You know, what's going on at home? Can I help with anything? Is there something I can help? Whatever. Okay. I want everybody to be up here where my expectations and my standards are is when they're there at the office. Okay. That's my job as a team leader. Because if somebody doesn't do that, production is going down. And then we don't meet our goals for the quarter or the month, whatever the case may be. And then that's not good. Then I start getting emails from the doctor and the owner, and they start questioning what the heck's going on. Okay. So I used the 5 there. Some of you guys have 2s and 3s. It is vital. It is vital. Okay, this is why my team will always outperform your team, because your team has 2s and 3s. I have 6, 7s, and 8s. You know why I know that? Because I'm a 10. Okay, if you are a 4 as a leader, you don't have 10s on your team. You don't. If you do right now, they're not going to stay for long. Okay, so that's what the law of the lid states for you. Okay, so again, not only does the law of the lid show you the level of effectiveness for your corporation, it kind of reveals to you who's on your team and why. Okay, I talked to you guys a little bit on job interviews. You know, who comes to my office and gives me a resume, and who wants to interview to be part of our team. Okay, again, here's why this is important for me to be a 10. Okay, as team leader, here's what happens. If I'm a 10, guess what I'm going to be hiring? Other 10s. You know why? Because other 10s want to be with 10s as leader. Okay, 10s don't want to be with 2s and 3s and 4s. You're not going to hire 10. All right. So if I'm a 10, I'm going to hire other 10s because I know what they look like. Okay. I know how they perform. I know how they act. I know what their expectations are. I love having conversations with other 10s because we talk about goals. We're motivated. It's all about the team. It's all about the practice. So I know what a 10 is, and those 10s want to be with us. Okay. But here's what happens if I as a team leader drop a level to maybe like an 8. Okay. Now here's what's going on. If I'm an 8, I'm going to hire 7s. If I'm a 6 as a leader on my law of the lid, my lid level, if I'm a 6, I'm only going to hire 4s. Listen to this part, guys. If I'm a 4, I'm only going to hire 1s. Okay? Did y'all see that level of separation? The lower you are as the leader, the bigger the separation of what you're hiring. Okay? Now you just hopefully saw why you have the team that you have. It's all on you guys, the leader, the manager, the owner, the doctor, whoever's in charge. You just probably heard why you have the team that you have. Okay, it starts with the leader. I'll say it before, I said it before, I'll say it again many more times. Everything rises and falls on the leader. Everything. So if my level as a leader keeps dropping, so does the level of the people that are going to be on my team. Okay? If I was sitting with you right now and you had a pen and a notebook, here's what I would be telling you to write down. What can I do to raise my lid? What should I do? Where do I find it? What do I read? What do I watch? Okay? Because it is so important that for you to have the team that you want, you have to be the leader that you need to be. You gotta be a 10. All right? You gotta be a 10. All right? I hate to say this, but you know, if you're a 4, the good news, guys, remember I said this in the other video. The good news is you don't have to stay at a 4. Okay, go read some books, watch some videos, whatever. Okay, tomorrow morning when I go to work, actually tomorrow's Memorial Day, so I actually get a day off. I'm gonna spend with some buddies of mine. But when I go to work on Tuesday morning, instead of listening to whatever I used to listen to, I'm putting on a YouTube video on leadership. Okay, why? I got a very important job, a responsibility for my team. I got 9 people on my team, okay? A lot of different personalities that I have to deal with, okay? And it's everything depends on me, rises and falls on leadership. If my team's going to be successful, it's only because of what I was able to provide for them as a leader with the resources, the training, okay? And that's on me. Number 1, I need to be a 10 as a leader if I'm going to expect my followers to be 10s. It doesn't work the other way around, okay? 4s, if you stay a 4 and you don't want to grow, what's going to happen is you're going to destroy the growth of the team, okay? Your team's not going to grow. Your practice is not going to grow, okay? You're going to destroy the growth of the practice, okay? But remember, if you are a 4, you don't have to stay at a 4, okay? There's opportunities for you to be a 10, okay? So I'm hoping that by showing you the difference between followers math and leaders math, I was hoping that I could show you guys the importance of why you should be a 10 as a leader, okay? Because not only are you controlling the growth of your team, some way, somehow, you are affecting the people that are on your team. Who's on your team? Who are you attracting, okay, to be on your team? Because remember, you attract who you are, not what you want. If you are a 10, you're going to attract other 10s. If you are a 4, good luck, okay? Good luck. You're not going to be attracting 10s. I guarantee you that. So I'm very proud of the team that I'm a part of. But again, I worked really hard to get them to the point where they're at right now. But I'll first work really hard to get myself to where I'm at right now, okay, as a leader, as a, you know, on that scale. I'm a 10. I'm gonna be 9 or 10, okay? So that's something that I hold near and dear to me. I don't take that for granted at all, okay? Anytime I go to the office, I clock in. Anytime I need to provide leadership for my family, with my friends, whatever the case may be, I don't take that lightly, okay? So hopefully I was able to share with you guys the importance in that first video and this video on that scale, why it's important for you to raise that lid. Don't stay a 4, okay? The difference between followers math and leaders math, man, huge difference, okay? That should tell you right now and show you why your team is growing or your practice is growing the way it is. All you got to do is look at your team. Go look at your players, okay? A coach knows in order to win the Super Bowl, you got to have a lot of good players to win a Super Bowl, okay? You can't have 2s and 3s. You just can't, all right? You can't. So, guys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to end it right there. The other thing I wanted to remind you guys, too, is my book. Don't forget, my book is still on sale. If you want to buy this book, I'm going to leave some information on the bottom of this video. Just look at the bottom of the comment box. I'll leave a link as to where you can get my book, which is better 1 or 2. What I want to do starting now on my next videos is I'm going to get into what did I actually put in my book. Now that I've gone over the first 2 videos of what it takes to be a good leader, how to be a good leader, now as a result of that, I'm going to show you guys how to have a great team, okay? So which is better, 1 or 2, being a manager or being a leader and raising that lid, okay? Because how you are as a leader, the level you are as a leader is going to determine how great or how bad your team is. Okay, so please, if you get a chance, purchase my book. Right now, it's on paperback version. I'm hoping by mid-June, early July, the hardback version will be able to come out. And then this summer, I'm now in the works. I'm going to hopefully have a book signing event somewhere in my area, probably some Barnes and Noble. So look for that, okay? So get my book, which is better, 1 or 2. Again, I'll leave the information at the bottom there. I'll leave a link there. Please like and subscribe to my videos. It's only going to help me pursue this goal and dream of mine to eventually have more influence, more exposure out there with you guys in the industry. I cannot wait to meet everybody that's out there. I'm hoping that eventually you guys are, I get to meet you, and that this information that I'm sharing with you guys has an impact on you as a leader, because I know that one day I'm not going to be in it, okay? I have goals and dreams. I want to fish. I just want to wake up one day, get in my boat, and fish all day, okay? That day's coming, so I'm working for that. I'm not going to be able to lead my teams anymore eventually one day, but that's okay. I want my team to grow up to be leaders in the industry, okay? They are leaders in training. That keep telling them that every day. As long as I can, teach them how to be leaders, I'm hopefully, what I'm doing is I'm working myself out of a position, okay? That's my goal. I don't want to be the team leader forever, okay? I can't, okay? Parents, you can't, yeah, you're a parent until, you're no longer on earth, but eventually your kids do grow up and they have their own lives, okay? So you got to let them do what they need to do and survive in the world, okay? So I'm going to end it here, guys. Like I said, I hope I didn't offend anybody. Then the first video, go watch it if you haven't seen it, on the law of the lid. And then hopefully you learned something in this second part to that video. And like I said, next video, what I'll probably do is I'll start getting into what I put in my book so that I can help you guys have a better team at the office or in the business that you are at. So until next time, guys, I appreciate you watching. I'm going to try to keep these videos short, and hopefully I prepare myself better so that can happen. I can be long-winded. My dad used to be a preacher, so I'm not going to start preaching and be on here for too long, okay? So thank you again for watching and listening and supporting me. I appreciate you guys. Good luck, and I'll see you guys. I'll pull you out there in the circuit. Thank you.